Introduce me. My name is Amber. I work for Global Communities. I've been working for the organization now for going on 7 years. And I've been working in nonprofits and general in like maternal health care and general international work for over 15 years now. Global Communities specifically works in 35 different countries around the world. Our mission at Global Communities is to save lives, advance equity, and help communities build strong, healthy futures. And also, as you know, Emily said, we do this in a way where we go into communities. We've been there for a very long time. And we work directly with the communities in a very local way. So we're not sending people necessarily completely from the US. We're building programs in the communities, understanding what they need, speaking with them, and helping them build programs, ultimately with the goal to leave the country stronger and healthier and better than when we came. Our primary focus is on humanitarian assistance, sustainable development, and financial inclusion. So, obviously responding to emergencies. We're in a lot of places right now, Ukraine, Syria, Turkey. We have, on the next slide, I'll show you kind of our footprint, and it'll show all the different humanitarian assistant work we do. Sustainable development is really partnership with communities, building resilience, healthy lives. This is, where all of our maternal health programs come in. And just making sure women and girls in particular are really building strong, healthy futures. And financial inclusion is really a lot of, financial opportunities for families. We have Women Empowered, which is really women's savings groups and making sure that they have the financial and social empowerment they need to grow and contribute back to their families. As I said, this is our map, this is our footprint. So we're a pretty big NGO, although we do have, as you can see here, local work too in the US, mostly focused in San Diego. This is also something Emily has participated in a lot. We have maternal and infant health programs in San Diego too, which we're very proud of. A lot of NGOs focus solely on international work, but we actually began in San Diego and Mexico, going across the border. A doctor started the organization just knowing how important something as simple as penicillin was in 1961, and he was traveling back and forth and decided that's how he wanted to contribute to the world in a bigger way, is to establish programs in the US, Mexico, and then slowly grew and grew and grew over the last, now together it's been about 70 years. But as you can see, we're kind of spread out globally. I just also wanted to give you just a quick snapshot of some of our programs, like Climate Smart Communities. That's a lot focused in Guatemala and some of the Latin American countries, also in African countries that we're in. We have Food for Peace programs in Syria, WASH in Ghana. I mean, these are just samples of things that we're doing all over. A lot of these programs too all work together and build together. So it's not like we just have one program in one area. Where we may have a Women Empowered Savings Group program, we probably also have, food for education programs, where we're going in, making sure that they have fresh gardens and plenty of food for kids, and encouraging families to send their kids to school because they can be fed there and get an education and really grow at school. And now specifically tonight, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Guatemala. Emily did a great job of kind of setting the scene. Are 2 times greater than, Guatemala is.
Amber, if you can hear us, you might want to turn your camera off or please.
I think we just lost her.
She'll be back.
I got kicked off.
You just started
Guatemala.
the presentation, the screen sharing.
You're
in the Guatemala
Okay, let me. It's not letting me share my. Oh, there we go. I think this is it here. Okay. Can you see my screen? It's like
Not quite.
It's on the way.
There it is.
There it is.
yay! All right, fun stuff. I guess I should have been there in person, huh? Anyway, so what I was saying, I'll just start from, Project Concern International started in Guatemala in 1974. So we've been delivering health services to families in need and assisting communities and improving their resilience for a long time now. And I think I said maybe already that we're in the Western Highlands, and that specific area suffers from exceptionally high rates of maternity mortality and infant mortality, as well as stunting and malnutrition. It also has the highest rates of childhood, or excuse me, it has the indigenous communities there have 2 times higher rates than in the entire country for maternal mortality and infant mortality, which is just devastating. And more women there are dying from postpartum complications than other places in Guatemala. We all know, I'm sure you all know, Guatemala obviously is a lower income country. They already suffer from, food insecurity and isolation, fragmented care. The health system isn't great, and it's just exacerbated in the indigenous populations, which is why our work is really focused there. So Okay, so in general, what we've been doing for the last 50 years basically is different healthcare avenues for Mayan communities. We train volunteers in the community, so we do a lot of community health work where we train local leaders and volunteers to make sure that they're also able to help their own communities. Again, culturally appropriate, speaking the right language, making sure that mothers and families in general get the health care that they need. We're providing nutritious food, hygiene, sanitation. This is also where I say we have a lot of overlapping programs in our countries. We have women's empowerment programs and maternal and child health. So again, Casa Materna, Saving Moms and Babies. What we're doing there specifically, we have a program. We have partnered with the Ministry of Health and also the hospital in Huehuetenango, and Casa Materna has been a partner of the hospital for the last 23 years. And we've been providing high quality, culturally sensitive and language appropriate life-saving services through Casa Materna is basically mother's home, and it's a maternal waiting home. So before a mother delivers, as Emily was saying, before a mother delivers, especially if they're high risk and we can get them to the clinic in a safe way, we offer them a bed at the clinic, so where they can be monitored, they can be on bed rest, where we can make sure that they can have the safest delivery possible. So that's on the before the baby is born. And also, again, a lot of these women live very far away, so it's difficult to come in for services necessarily. But we also have telehealth, where we can speak with them on the phone, or if they are able to get into the clinic, we can make sure that they're getting, the vitamins that they need and the different things they need to have a healthy pregnancy. We also train midwives in the community. Again, this is part of our locally led efforts to really have people in the community who can, be midwives, be doulas, and help make sure that women are getting the health and care for that they need to have healthy babies. Once mothers do have birth at the hospital next door, if there are any problems whatsoever. And even if they just need extra time, because the hospital, similar actually to American hospitals, and because partly they're overcrowded, is you get like a day or two and then they kick you out. And a lot of times mothers need a lot more time than that to recover. And sometimes these, babies are born so early. And they have to go into NICU care. And so the mothers, instead of paying for a hotel or trying to find somewhere to stay, they can stay at Casa Materna to recover from birth, especially, if they have a C-section, or any other complication, where they need more time to rest. Casa Materna can take them in and they can wait there. The mothers get care there where they, learn breastfeeding. They learn to give their, just general nutrition for their family and their babies. The fathers, when they're there, or their caretakers in the family, can also learn different skills in raising the baby, the different importance things. Kangaroo care, where you're holding the baby, to your skin and really getting them attuned to your heartbeat. So a lot of support for moms and babies and families in general in that space. And so we, provide that full service care. And again, it's in partnership with the hospital and the Ministry of Health, which has just been a great partnership. And we can honestly claim, for the last 23 plus year, we have never lost a mother, anybody who has come into our care. So I feel very proud of that and honored that we're able to provide that. And then I just wanted to share some more beautiful photos. Again, we have some, moms being taken care of before birth and after birth. And, we have some really compelling stories of what has actually happened. So that's what I'm going to quickly share, a story of this mother. Her name is Alicia. She came into Casa Materna a couple of years ago, and her baby girl was coming early. And she didn't know what to do. She was scared. She didn't know, she really didn't know what to expect. And so when she got to the hospital, the doctors told her that she had to have a cesarean because the baby wasn't responding as much as they wanted her to. It was, the baby was flipped the wrong way, and they were just very worried that there could be some complications. So she had to have an emergency C-section. And when she did that, they actually had severe hemorrhaging. So she was at high risk and really like on a track to potentially not live through the birth of her baby. The baby was okay, but born, a couple of weeks, I think it was, 3 weeks too early. So she did go directly to the NICU. And thank goodness the doctors were able to save Alicia's life. And on top of that, she was able to recover at Casa Materna, and the baby was able to have, all the things that I just talked about, kangaroo care. She got to hold her baby and stay near to her. For any moms out there who have had a baby, especially early, how important those first, few weeks are and few days are, even, and how scary that can be. She was able to be close and get the care that she needed. It was very mentally taxing for her too. So they were able to, take care of her, just, support her postpartum, support just her being able to get close to her daughter. And luckily we can say today that she's doing great and she's healthy. And, thanks to the hospital and Casa Materna staff, that she, is thriving with her family. So, another, like I said, I mean, you probably knew the story was going to be good since they said we didn't lose a mom. But I just had to say, I just wanted to share that. So anyways, I wanted to leave some room for questions. And I know with the little outage we had, maybe there's not as much time, but I'm happy, I'm sure Emily would be happy to answer questions about Nurturely too. But I would love, if anybody has any specific questions about CASA.
We can go ahead and open it up, and we'll start with Holly.
So I can understand how a mother could come there for her first child, but say she's on her third child and her husband expects her to be there and feed him, or maybe even work in the fields. How does all that work out?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we actually have, families come together there. Sometimes we've seen, I've heard and talked to women who have had stories where they have to come alone. But yeah, I mean, and the community helps to take care. But a lot of the times the mom, may travel with the family members, and um, the father, comes along, but he may only be able to be there a day and then have to travel back. But typically, we actually do see fathers come and support, at least for as long as they can before they have to get back.
As you, I'm sure, know personally, in Guatemala, the government has been at war with the populations, especially the indigenous populations. How is that working out today, in today's sphere with your organization? And is it considered a Yankee outfit, or it has its roots now in Guatemala?
Yeah, I think that's one of the good things, because we've been there for so long. We've been there since 1974, and we've been working with the government and the Ministry of Health in particular. Yeah, unfortunately, there has been some, I think there's a lot of warfare going on there, but our organizations in particular, it hasn't affected what we're doing there, and we are working closely with the government and the people there, and I think because of that, we're able to continue our care.
Amazing.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments?
Oh, I was just going to make a comment, which is, I don't know if people realize the state that we're in the United States, but the fact that they're primarily serving high-risk mothers in Guatemala who are 8 hours on a bumpy dirt road to any health care, and there has not been a maternal death in 23 years. Let me tell you, that is not the case in Oregon. That is not the case in the US by any stretch of the imagination. And what Amber just shared with the family being able to come, that is not the case in the US in any way. So just a little bit of context here of the local global connection and the work that needs to be done here in the US, and the great work that's happening in Guatemala, but really demanding better for our birthing people who are bringing life into the world and should not have to risk their own life doing that.
Oh, thank you so much for your presentation. It was really great. Sorry about the technology, but this is sort of a mundane question, but how is your funding? I mean, everything takes money. Where's the money coming from, and how are you able to support this great work you do?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I appreciate that question a lot. So, specifically with Casa Materna, we rely 100% on private funders. So we have some donors who have, this is a program close to their heart, and they've kept it alive for a while. We also we'll go for grants and, write proposals to get some money in specifically for this program. Guatemala, we do have some other funding, like through the US government, but they're very specific and strict with their funding. So we can only use them, that specifically for like food security programming, for example. But for Casa Materna, yeah, we've had donors just keep us afloat. It's interesting because of what things cost in Guatemala is so much less expensive than America. It only for us to effectively run the clinic every year, it's $180,000. So just imagine what saving, anywhere from 300 to 500 women a year for $180,000. Like, that's crazy, right? But it's true. And that's why we've been able to sustain the program with some donors, but we're always looking to increase our program funding, increase our reach into the community, educate more. Piece of it I didn't talk as much about is we have an education component that's in the schools that's really teaching like health education and sexual education to to teenagers so that they're not having babies, and they're understanding, that they don't need to have babies, while they're teenagers, and that they need to stay in school. So yes, I mean, we're always, that program specifically is donor funded. So we're always kind of chasing our tails trying to find more funds for that.
Amber, I'm not sure if you would know this offhand, but would you happen to know the communities or the community in Ghana, like local communities that you're working in?
No, but I'd be happy to follow up. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the exact community. Do you have a connection there?
Yeah, but maybe I can find it on your website. That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I can follow up too. I can send a note to Heather.
All right, we've got a question from James.
Thank you so much. When I was looking at thank you so much, Amber. I also do some work in Uganda, which is close to almost what you're doing. And it's so challenging, and more so to meet the mission and the goal of saving lives when it involves giving birth. What is the secret behind your success? Because you said that your main mission is to save lives, and you've done it. What is it that you do in order to achieve this? How do you do it?
So what makes the program successful, or our work in general? Both?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think mainly what it is like, one, I know I've said this a few times, but like, we've been embedded in the community for so long. So it's not like we have, like, our programs are run by Indigenous women in the community. They're run by people who are there, and they're local, and they understand the needs. And because we can truly understand what the women need to have safe health pregnancies, we can have, for example, having midwives in the community who can speak the language, right? We mentioned earlier, Emily mentioned earlier, like, the language, the Mayan indigenous language is not written down. So knowing how to speak to these women about, how to, really appropriately take care of themselves during birth. And if they can't make it to a hospital, can we get a midwife to them? I think it's really having local people who can speak the language, understand the culture, and then educate. I think that's a big component maybe I haven't talked enough about tonight, is that, like, women don't understand necessarily in those communities that they have the right to their own body. They have the right to make decisions. And so just, slowly educating them on, we can space out births, right? You don't have to have a ton of children in a row, and you don't necessarily even need to continue to have children. Like, understanding birth control, there's so many just small, facets to educating the community and having them understand, like, how to have, again, like, a healthy pregnancy, or just educating the younger population. I think that is a big part of the success. I also think the partnership with the Ministry of Health and the hospital, just us working so closely together, has been really successful. Them being able to send patients over, and us being able to send moms over when they're ready to have birth too. That partnership has been critical to the success.
Okay, I think we've got time for one more question, and there's more.
Well, I'm really curious because, with U.S. propaganda, what we get is Guatemalan government just is killing everybody, and so that's why everybody's going north. But what you're saying is that you're actually working with governmental agencies in Guatemala. So for a lot of people in the U.S., there would be a total disconnect with that somehow everything in Guatemala is bad. And that's why people want to leave and come to the U.S. But what you're saying is that it's not. So could you elaborate just a little bit and enlighten us? Thank you.
Yeah, I think what I'm saying is that we're providing care in a specific place. It's not sorry if I misrepresented, but it's not that that Guatemala is doing well and thriving in any way. They're, the poverty, I think it's like 60% of the people are below poverty line, and indigenous people in particular are twice as poor and have less access to food and health and everything. So what we're doing is working with specific like the Ministry of Health is one piece of the government, and it's within like the Western Highlands of Guatemala, and we've had a long time partnership with them there. And partly what we're doing is trying to keep people in Guatemala, right? Nobody wants to leave, or especially their country where they're comfortable, where nobody wants to. It's definitely something that was, pushed on them to feel that it was their last resource or a possibility to save their family to leave. What we're trying to do is just make communities healthier, connect them to education, health, maternal health, food, all of the basic things that we live with it and have every day. So I don't know if that fully answers your question, but basically, that is part of what we're trying to do, is give people a way to have healthier, sustainable lives so they don't feel that they have to move or leave for a better life.
Okay. Andrew, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thanks, Emily, for the invitation. And thank you for Heather for inviting me to be here as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
We appreciate it so much. Again, thank you. And we're going to do the remainder of our club business. So if you've got other things that you need to get back to, then that's great. Otherwise, you're certainly welcome to stay. But thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thanks. Have a wonderful night.
All right, we have made it down to the happy dollar portion of the evening. Is there a volunteer to collect happy dollars? Looks like Scott.
Mark. So I've got 10 happy dollars because 40 years ago and 2 days, my wife has been putting up with me for 40 years now. Somehow I continue to fool her. Fool her. There's no wow here. It's all fool. Yeah, and so we said, well, another 40. I said, I don't think we can handle that.
1 year at a time.
Yeah, 1 year at a time. So that's $10. Another $10 is just, you all have seen our little furry black doggy, guide dog for the blind. Well, she made it all the way through the program. She will be placed with the family near San Rafael, and then she will start having sex with other dogs.